Sveiki visi prisijungę į EBIT gyvai. Koronavirusas užklupo pasaulį labai netikėtai. Ir nesu tikras, bet man atrodo, mes jau negrįšime į tą pasaulį, kurį mes pažinojame. Pasikeisime mes patys, pasikeis mūsų organizacijos, pasikeis mūsų praktikos ir gera žinia turbūt yra ta, kad jau šiandien galime pradėti stebėti tendencijas, kaip galėtų atrodyti pasaulis po viruso. Tai man labai malonu, kad prie EBIT gyvai iniciatyvos prisijungė TRENDWATCHING įžvalgų ir tendencijų vadovas DAVID MATTIN. So, hello David, it's a pleasure you're joining us for this our initiative of webinars.
Hey Danius, thank you so much for having me. I'm in my office working from home right now, as so many of us are all across Europe. But yeah, it's great to join you virtually from London.
Thank you very much. Look, I'm not sure, but perhaps the world that we knew before coronavirus is going to change. And I'm already thinking that there should be some tendencies and trends that we already could witness that will be in a post-corona world. So why not you share the ideas with us?
Yes, I mean, I totally agree. So the title of my presentation I'm about to share with you guys is called The Great Reset. I really do think there will be profound and lasting changes as a result of this pandemic. But one anchor we can hang on to through all of that is human nature and basic human needs. So what I want to do in this presentation is share with you guys 3 powerful trends that I think are going to be super useful for you as fuel, as inspiration in a post-corona world. So what I'm about to do is switch from something far more interesting than just me and my face. It's the presentation, the slides I actually want to share with you guys. So I'm going to share my screen and we can get going. This presentation is called The Great Reset. My name is David. I'm from a place called TRENDWATCHING. At TRENDWATCHING, our obsession is with consumer trends. We are obsessed with the trends reshaping the mindsets, the behaviors, the expectations of consumers all over the world. I also write a weekly newsletter called New World, Same Humans, all about trends, technology, and society. And just as I said when we were speaking to Danius, what I want to share with you guys today is 3 powerful consumer trends for a post-pandemic world. Trends that I hope can do a couple of things. Number 1, can just give you guys a handle on some of the big changes reshaping the world out there during the pandemic. And number 2, more importantly, can be fuel for your innovation, can inspire you guys to innovate for consumers in a post-pandemic world, because we know that this is an unprecedented moment. There are huge changes afoot. You only have to look at the news, look around the world to see that. Want to start by saying that, of course, this is a super difficult moment for many people, many of you too, I'm sure, and our thoughts are with the people who need it most right now. It's so important to start with that message. But we're all asking, where next? We know this moment will pass. We know it's a huge moment, and we're asking where next for our lives, where next for society, where next for business and innovation. And just as I said, you only have to look around the world to see how unprecedented these events are. This is the streets of New York, almost totally deserted, which of course is unheard of. The streets of London, totally empty. This is a concert in Moscow performed to a totally empty hall because people weren't allowed to come to the hall, so they just tuned in virtually. We are in unprecedented times right now. Now look, before I get onto the 3 trends, I just want to take a step back and share with you the way that we think about trends at TRENDWATCHING, because that will be super useful for everything that follows. And it really is the core part of my message. So look, yes, this is an unprecedented moment. There is huge change happening right now. We live with rapid change all the time in the 21st century. We're in an environment of great change. The world is changing very fast around us. That was true even before the pandemic. Social change, technological change, attitudinal change. And of course, the pandemic, coronavirus, is only accelerating that change and making the change feel even more chaotic and even more difficult to understand. And here's the thing about all that change. It can throw you off balance. This is something I used to say in presentations before this moment, before the pandemic. It's massively even more so true now. This is an incredible moment. No one really knows what it means. It's very hard to make sense of it. That feels frightening in many ways. It feels very uncertain if you're an innovator, if you're in business. How do you make sense of this moment that we are in? Well, look, there is a powerful, simple core truth that can let you start to get a handle on this moment and on all this change. And that is this. Yes, this is an incredible moment of change, but amid all that, we are still the same old humans with the same old basic human needs. So human beings are motivated by a set of basic needs, things like value, security, excitement, love, whatever it is. They are very stable. They don't really change. Decade on decade, century on century, they remain the same. Even at incredible moments of change like this, they remain the same and they remain deeply relevant. And the reason I'm telling you this is because new trends are really built of those two building blocks. On the one hand, change, on the other hand, basic human needs. In fact, to be more specific about it, we tend to say this. We say new trends emerge when change unlocks some new way of serving one of these age-old basic human needs we all have. That's what these trends I'm going to share with you now are all about. They're all about new ways of serving these age-old basic human needs. And crucially, we think the best way you can see that happening, the best way to spot these trends, is to look out to the world of innovation. Look to the innovations serving basic human needs now, and look particularly for those innovations that are serving basic human needs in new ways, because those innovations do something special. They change people, they rewire them, they give them new behaviors, new habits. In the end, they give them new expectations. Innovations that serve basic needs in new ways cause people to expect new things of the world around them. And those expectations, once they've been generated, they will spread. They'll spread across industries, they'll spread across demographics, they'll eventually spread all the way to your door. And that's really all I'm talking about when I talk about a trend. I'm talking about a new set of human expectations that is spreading. Okay, so we are in this moment of a reset. We are in this moment of profound change. It feels very uncertain. It feels very hard to make sense of it. But if we look at how this moment is going to unlock new ways to serve age-old basic human needs, and is going to unlock new expectations about these age-old basic human needs we all have, then we can start to make sense of it, and we can start to build a strategy for it, and we can start to think as innovators, how can we innovate for a post-pandemic world? And that's what I want to do with the time I have left. I want to share very quickly 3 trends with you, each trend built on one of these basic human needs that I think is deeply relevant for a post-pandemic world. These were all trends that were going on before this moment. Okay, these are not trends that have sprung out of nowhere or have sprung into existence in the last couple of weeks. These were trends that have been going on before this moment, but they are going to be hugely accelerated and made more powerful by a post-pandemic world. So we're going to look at each of the 3 trends. After each trend, we'll have a quick light bulb moment where we ask, what does this trend mean for you? What can you do with this trend? Because that's the crucial question for you out there. It's not about just knowing these trends. It's not about thinking they're interesting. It's about using them, applying them to create new innovations in the months and years ahead. Okay, so with all that said, let's race on to trend number 1. Trend number 1 starts with a big, simple, basic human need: convenience. Convenience is one of those age-old universal human needs. We all want our lives to be as easy and simple as possible. We all want the things we want, and we want them right now. We want instant access to them. That's just a part of human nature, okay? And it's always been there, always will be there. There has been a change playing out recently in recent years that's been unlocking new ways to serve that basic human need, and that is AI. You know, this is not new news now. AI has been having a moment for a few years now. Consumers see it out there just as we do as innovators. They are starting to expect brands and businesses to put AI to work to make their lives easier, faster, more efficient, more convenient. And that's happening already in all kinds of ways. Here's Google demonstrating an AI assistant that can book you a haircut, you know, ring the salon and talk to the person at the end of the phone for you. So we're seeing all kinds of innovations on that front. And we have been for a couple of years now, innovations that use AI to make people's lives easier, faster, more convenient. We see that particularly though in one industry, and that is retail. AI-fueled innovations that are about making people's retail lives, their consumer lives, easier, faster, and more efficient. And that's what I want to focus on with this trend. And look, this trend is being supercharged right now because you have hundreds of millions, billions of people all over the planet not allowed basically to leave their homes, sitting on their sofa on a lockdown, but they still need to buy things. They're not allowed really out of their house. They don't really want to go out of their house and deal with other human beings because of the dangers associated with that right now. So they are looking for automated, efficient ways to conduct their retail lives and their consumer lives. And that's what this trend A-commerce is all about. The A stands for automated. So this trend is automated commerce. It's about consumers finding smart, AI-fueled ways to automate and outsource their retail life, their shopping life, their consumer life. And I want to show you some examples of how this trend is playing out and how it may play out in the future. Here's a great first example of what I mean and why this trend is so powerful for a post-pandemic world. As I say, you have hundreds of millions of people on lockdown. They're not really supposed to be leaving their house or as infrequently as possible. They don't want to go to the supermarket right now that is stacked full of people. They're looking for automated solutions. This is an amazing automated solution for grocery shopping. This is Stop and Shop, a grocery chain in the United States that's been experimenting with a startup called RoboMart that creates self-driving cars that essentially bring the store to you. I have a quick video I want to play you to show you what it's all about. Check this out and then we'll talk more.
Grocery shopping today is a pain. Long trips to the store, waiting in line, paying extra for delivery. We've created a better way. Introducing RoboMart, the world's first driverless grocery store. RoboMart is not a delivery vehicle, it's an autonomous store on wheels. No more trips to the store. No more waiting in line. No more relying on someone else picking your groceries for you. Available, affordable, and quick. Simply tap to call a RoboMart. Within minutes, it'll arrive at your doorstep. As easy as Amazon, as quick as Uber. Just grab what you need and go. And you automatically get checked out. RoboMart is not just a concept. It's here today and will be rolling out soon.
Okay, so you get the picture. Instead of having to go to the grocery store is going to come to you. It's a tiny little micro atomized store that will roll itself to your house, and you can still do your own grocery shopping, but the grocery store comes to you. That the person in the video seems to live in some kind of car park, but of course most people will want it to come to their house. Now look, and this goes for all the innovations I'm going to show you today. I am not saying, of course, you are going to go out and create a self-driving grocery store. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying just go and copy this. I'm showing you this because it's a powerful signal of a set of underlying consumer expectations that are set to grow. You have hundreds of millions of consumers on lockdown. They're searching for automated solutions. Some of them may use solutions like this. They don't even have to use it. They're just going to see solutions like this. And they're going to see more powerful to them than ever because they really need these kind of automated solutions right now. And when they see these kinds of solutions, these kinds of innovations, that's going to generate new expectations of automated retail, of automated commerce that they will then bring to you. And you have to think of your own version of that. What can you do to serve those expectations? It's not going to be a grocery store on wheels, most likely, but what can you do to serve increasing expectations of automated commerce? Here's one very different, totally online example that perhaps is going to inspire some of you. This is Finery. Finery is essentially an automated assistant, an AI-fueled assistant for a person's fashion retail life. And Finery does a couple of things when you install it. The first thing it does is it will rinse through your inbox, pull out all your recent fashion retail purchases, and just categorize them by type. So in a virtual wardrobe. So you'll have all your jumpers in one category, all your trousers, all your shoes, and so on. We'll just sort it all out for you. The second thing Finery does is even more interesting. It syncs to your browser so that when you are shopping for clothes online, it will assist you. So you can tell Finery that you like an item of clothing on a certain website. And when you do that, it will go to work for you. It will kind of ping you 2 days later and say, oh, that pair of trousers you told me you like on that website, the price has dropped by 20%. Do you want to buy them now? Or did you know you could get the same pair of trousers cheaper from a different brand online somewhere else? Did you know you could get a very similar pair of trousers cheaper somewhere else? And it's using AI and it's using image recognition to do all of that. So this again is a great example of what I mean by automated commerce, a smart AI fueled innovation that makes a person's retail life, in this case, fashion retail life, easier, faster, and more efficient. This is all happening online. The first example was a very physical example. This is all happening online, and e-commerce is obviously hugely powerful there. You can think about really simple, smart solutions that automate just one aspect of a person's retail or consumer life. This is Revolut, the digital bank here in the UK. They recently launched a very simple but very smart feature that is essentially e-commerce for travel insurance. So if you want to use this feature, so Revolut is a digital bank, and you all know how those work. You know, you have an app, you have a card, and the card and the app sync together and all that. If you want to use this new feature, you simply flick a switch in the app, you turn on automated travel insurance, and then whenever you travel insurance is purchased for you automatically. You don't have to do anything. So if you fly from London to Barcelona, which is not something you're going to be doing right now, but in the future, then it will purchase your travel insurance for you. If you then fly on to Munich, it will update the purchase and insure you for that as well. When you return back to your home in London, of course, it knows all of this because the app is on your phone, in your pocket. It will close the purchase, end the purchase, and automatically charge you from your card. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to think about it at all. So this is totally automated travel insurance. Purchasing travel insurance is not something most people want to spend time on. It's not something that is fun, that they enjoy. This just totally automates the process. So one simple, smart feature that automates an aspect of a person's consumption. When, again, people use a feature like this, or even they just see it, they just hear about it, their expectations will be changed. If my bank can totally automate my travel insurance for me, why can't other brands, why can't your brand automate an aspect of my retail life too and make that super convenient? That will be the expectation that you face. Just to show you how far expectations of e-commerce can go and will go in the future, this is Alibaba and Ford. And this is, as you can see from the picture, essentially e-commerce for buying a car. This is a car vending machine. I've got a quick video for you to show you how it works. So again, check this out and then we'll talk. Have a look. Okay, so you see how that worked. And this is not just a video. This was a real service that was in 2 Chinese cities in the middle of last year. And yeah, you can see how many aspects of that process they've automated. So you see a Ford car on the street, you take a picture of it with your phone. It's using image recognition to say, yes, that car is available from the vending machine. You go to the vending machine, you're auto-identified using facial recognition, and the Taobao app delivers the car to you that you want. You use your phone to unlock it, take it for a test drive. You can even purchase the car through the Taobao app if you have enough money in your account. So just totally automated test drive and even purchase of a car. Ford said they wanted to make buying a car as easy as buying a can of Coke from a vending machine. So look, again, I'm not saying you're going to go out there and build a car vending machine in 2021. I'm showing you that example because it's such a powerful signal of a rising set of expectations. When a car is as easy to buy as a can of Coke from a vending machine, when that experience is as automated as you saw it in that video, what new expectations does that generate of you? What new expectations of automated AI-fueled convenience will you face, and how can you innovate to serve those expectations? This moment, this great pandemic, is going to accelerate expectations of automated, AI-fueled, super convenient consumption. What can you do in 2021 to serve those expectations? That is the first light bulb moment I would love you to take away. Okay, let's race on to trend number 2. Trend number 2 starts with a very different basic human need, but one that's equally as powerful: community. Community. We are, as human beings, social animals. We are hard-coded to be social, to need social connection, to need other people, to need community. There's a huge amount in the world, even before the pandemic, disrupting that basic human need. One is technology. You know, we've all become glow face addicts. We're all addicted to our devices. Just one tiny statistic that's a glimpse of that: 54% of US teens say they spend too much time on their phone. I always say the other 46% must have been lying. We know we live in a very polarized time, politically and socially, and that's being fueled by social media and the online space. Of course, the pandemic is doing a massive amount now. I mean, all that was true before, but the pandemic now is doing a huge amount to disrupt that basic human need for community. Number one, the very obvious fact that we're all on lockdown. We're not really supposed to leave our homes. We're not really supposed to have social contact with others. Here in the UK, all the pubs are closed. That's a huge deal. We all have cabin fever. We're looking through the windows at the outside world and other people, longing to be out there again, but we're not really allowed out right now. So that's disrupting the basic human need for community. At the same time, though, something really powerful is happening, and that is that this pandemic is causing people to realize in a new way the power and the importance of community. Okay, because when something like this happens, and when supply chains are disrupted, when the big supermarkets start to be empty, when everyone is sent to work from home, you start to realize the crucial importance of your local community and the people around you and the neighbors and even the people in your street, and the need for us all to support one another on a very local, street by street basis. So you guys know, there are WhatsApp groups springing up now all over the place that are just about the people on your street and making sure that older people on your street are okay and everyone talking to each other. People are realizing again that the importance of local community to keep our lives running. And the pandemic is making that happening. So you put that picture together, you come to this second trend I want to share with you: Village Squared. Village Squared is a trend that's about saying consumers are seeking, or will seek, new kinds of in-person experiences that repair our frayed social fabric, okay, that bring the importance and power of community back to the forefront. And I want to show you some examples of how that's playing out. Here's a super fun, quick one to start with that I love. This is Nike. Nike did something really interesting in the middle of last year, and that is it took its first original store that it opened way back in 1967 in Los Angeles, and it turned it into a community space for runners that was all about the Nike heritage brand. So This was about saying, we're going to take our original store, which back in the 1960s became like a niche space for this fringe group of people who loved running, who loved jogging, which was a super weird thing to do then. No one went jogging. It was not, fitness was not a big deal. We're going to take this store now and turn it back into that, turn it back into a true community space for the local community, for local fitness enthusiasts who can come, who can congregate, who can have meetings, who can have classes, and also learn a bit about the Nike heritage brand as well. So just a really, really interesting way of playing with your brand heritage and with this new thirst for new kinds of community spaces. Kicking it on a step though, this is a super powerful one. This is Selfridges, which is a really high-end department store in the United Kingdom. And they've done something really interesting recently, which is open the world's first permanent skate park inside a retail space. I've got a quick video to show you what it's like, so check this out. Okay, and part of the reason I find that so fascinating is because if you're as old as me, or maybe even a little bit older, you remember the days like this, where if there were teenagers skating in the mall or skating in the shopping center, they were kicked out by the security guards. It was like, get out of this mall, you're not allowed to do that in here. Now you have Selfridges, which is one of the most high-end department stores in London. So we're talking about prime, top range retail space, opening a permanent skate park and inviting these teenagers into their luxury department store. And there's all kinds of reasons behind that. One powerful reason is they recognize this new thirst for spaces, community shared spaces that help repair the frayed fabric of our societies, that help bring people back together again in new ways, away from their devices, away from technology, bringing people back together to be social, to have a true community. They also realize that consumers have changed profoundly, and actually lots of these teenagers have money to spend on luxury brands, and there are luxury skate brands now. And these teenagers have the money and the enthusiasm to spend on them. So the idea that, teenagers with skateboards don't belong in a luxury store is totally outdated. Demographically, that has all shifted. So there's a lot of interesting thinking behind this new community space in Selfridges that targets teenagers who are skateboarders. And again, you're not going to go and open a skateboard ramp in your office or in your space. It's very unlikely, I know, but think about that underlying set of expectations. How can you create new shared spaces that serve an interesting demographic in a powerful new way? One final quick one to inspire you and to warm the heart as well. This is Starbucks opening truly bespoke local cafes in economically distressed areas all across the United States. So they're going to underprivileged areas where there are a lot of people who are struggling financially, who are struggling economically, and they're opening cafes. They're employing lots of local people in those cafes. There are special rooms that are like community spaces for the community to use, and that also there are displays and like museum installations about the local community to get people inspired about the place in which they live. So this is really, obviously a giant coffee chain, giant global brand, going very local and going to economically distressed places and opening spaces and cafes that really mean something to the local community. So I would love you to think about this second trend, Village Squared. and what this underlying set of expectations mean for you. You know, you might be working in a very different type of brand. You might be a bank, you might be a technology startup, you might be a hotel. Whoever you are, think about this new expectation for community spaces and shared spaces that bring people back together in interesting new ways, that restore something of a sense of community. It was a powerful expectation before. The pandemic is really going to accelerate that expectation, because people for the next 3-4 months are inside their homes, longing to get out, longing to get back into the community. And they're also realizing right now the power and the importance of local community in their lives, because they're leaning on that local support right now. And when all of this is over, when this moment is over, they're going to bring those heightened expectations of community out into the world, and you can be there to serve them if you think about how. Okay, let's move on to the final trend, trend number 3. A third powerful, universal, shared human need: well-being. Well-being. We all as human beings want to be well, physically, mentally, cognitively, emotionally. Our well-being, of course, is of paramount importance to us. That's always been true. It always has been true. I want to get back to the original change in the world that we talked about with the first trend, AI. AI is disrupting this basic human need for well-being. There are right now hundreds of millions of people around the world having conversations with AI-fueled entities like Siri, like Alexa, AI-fueled home assistants. For the most part, those conversations, of course, are very functional. They're things like, Alexa, order me some washing powder, or Siri, what's the way to the bank? But we are in the middle right now of a profound shift. The nature of people's relationships with those AI-fueled technologies is changing. It's becoming about more than just functionality and transaction, more than just Alexa, order me some washing powder, Siri, what's the way to the bank? It's becoming about deeper human things, like creativity, like companionship, and yes, even like well-being. Physical, cognitive, even emotional well-being. People are building relationships with these AI-fueled entities that is in part about their emotional selves and the sense of connection they feel to this AI-fueled entity. Apple know that's happening. That's why they're hiring counselors and psychologists into the Siri team, so Siri can have, as they say, more serious conversations with us, because they know that people are asking questions to Siri like, Siri, what is happiness? Siri, how can I be more happy? Siri, you know, how can you help me with my relationships? Things like that. And right now, again, the pandemic is massively accelerating that pre-existing trend. So you have hundreds of millions of people at home, some of them vulnerable people, older people, people living on their own, and they are going to be leaning harder on these AI-fueled devices and using them in new ways and deepening their relationships with them. So you can go online right now and find a whole ton of advice for older people living alone on how they can use, for example, Amazon Echo, how they can use Alexa to keep them company and give them emotional support and remind them to take their medicines while they are on lockdown during the pandemic. So then that becomes a relationship that's about far more than just Alexa, order me some washing powder. It's about a relationship with Alexa that's to do with health and well-being and emotional support. Excuse me. And that's what this third trend is all about, virtual companions. It's about saying the nature of the relationship with these AI-fueled entities is changing, and it's becoming about deeper human things like health, happiness, and well-being. And I want to show you some examples of that. Here's a great first example. If you find this trend hard to believe in, if you find it hard to believe that people are having and going to have true relationships with AI-fueled entities, give this app a try. This is Replica. This is an AI-fueled conversational app that essentially wants to become your best friend and counselor. So you download the app, you talk to it using very natural language. It asks you a ton of questions, gets to know you. At the start, it's pretty clunky, but if you talk to your Replica enough, there does start to be something quite interesting about your conversations with it. And really what it's trying to do is get to know you very well and become a kind of mirror image of your own personality, so that you can see yourself reflected back in the conversations you have with your replica. And millions of people have downloaded this app. Millions of people talk to it and have a kind of relationship with it. Check out this review on the App Store saying, "My replica amazes me with its intuitive responses. Didn't think it's possible to become friends with an AI, but here I am." This shows you that the nature of this kind of relationship with AI-fueled entities is changing. This is not just Siri, what is the way to the bank? This is a person having a true relationship, a kind of friendship, as strange as that sounds, with an AI-fueled entity. Okay, kick it on a step or several steps with this example. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to older people and their relationship with AI-fueled entities during this pandemic and also then beyond it. This is LEQ. This is an AI-fueled robot that's supposed to be a companion for older people. I have a video that I want to show you so you see what it's like. So check this out and then we'll talk. Have a look.
Mary, Megan sent a new photo. Would you like to look at it?
Yes, please. Oh, he's a gem.
Would you like to respond to Megan's post?
Sure.
Recording in 3, 2, 1.
LEQ reminds me to take my meds, arranges rides for me. She even reminds me of all my appointments.
Mary, don't forget bridge with the Golden Girls at 1 p.m. Would you like to practice?
Oh, I don't need to practice.
I didn't catch that. Do you want to play bridge or not?
Oh, fine. Let's play.
Mary, you wanted to Skype with Liz. Would you like to do that now?
Oh, sure, that sounds great. Hey, honey.
Hi, Mom. Hey, I just noticed, is it a little cool in the house?
Oh, it feels great. I'm doing my Tai Chi now.
Yeah, I can see. Okay, Mom. Just checking in. You take care.
I'm fine, sweetie. Chat later.
Okay, so you see how that works. From the video, it looks as though living with LEQ could be a little bit annoying, but we'll let that pass. This is an AI-fueled entity that goes way beyond Alexa, order me some washing powder. This is a true companion for an older person that is about well-being, is about happiness, and is about emotional connection. Yes, about, of course, emotional connection to your relatives, to your daughter who can, you know, FaceTime with you, but also there's a certain amount of connection to the device itself. And lots of older people right now are using, you know, their Amazon Echo, are using their Alexa in a way that is comparable to this. It's not exactly like this, but it's comparable. And that is going to heighten expectations for these kinds of devices in the future. Just to bring this trend back down to earth for a second, look, it doesn't have to be all about, you know, amazing apps that want to be your best friend or incredible robots where there's an emotional connection. All kinds of brands and all kinds of businesses are going to start to deploy virtual entities where there is intended to be a sense of emotional connection with the consumer too. So this is SK2. They just launched their first virtual brand ambassador. So this is a totally virtual entity of, as you can see, she has a face, she has a kind of physical presence, and she's going to be present inside their app, on their website, in their store on huge digital screens. And yes, she's supposed to give you information. She can guide you around the store and tell you about the prices and where things are located and all of that. But there is supposed to be a sense of emotional connection too. She's supposed to greet you and feel warm and nice and pleasant to engage with. So this is in itself a kind of virtual companion. Now look, again, and just like I said, you know, you're probably not going to go and build an AI-fueled robot for older people. You're not going to go and build an app that uses AI to try and become a person's best friend and counselor. But there is rising expectations for virtual entities that serve these higher order human needs like happiness, companionship, well-being, creativity, that go beyond just transaction and functionality. And people are going to bring those expectations to you, to your door. So what kind of virtual companion will consumers expect from you in 2020? That is the crucial question you can ask yourself. And think about, what does a virtual companion look like for your industry? You know, if you're a bank, is your app right now just totally functional, totally transactional? What kind of virtual companion could you create that's warm, that's human, that helps people connect emotionally and feel reassured about their money and gives them advice in a way that's human and reassuring? If you're a hotel, what kind of virtual companion can you create for your app or your website or inside the rooms of each of the guests that is reassuring and human, and creates a sense of emotional connection too? Because if your virtual presence is still just totally functional and totally transactional, and there's no emotional component to it, you're going to be slipping behind these new expectations. Okay, look guys, that wraps up my 3 trends. I hope that that gives you 3 powerful opportunities, 3 powerful trends to think about, take back to your team, innovate around, and roll out new innovations in 2020 and 2021. These expectations are being heightened by the pandemic. Take those trends, use them, apply them, serve those new expectations in the months and years ahead. As well as the 3 trends, think about the methodology I gave you. You know, if you want to go out and start spotting trends of your own, we all see a ton of new stuff all the time. Innovations, products, services, campaigns, you see them in the world, you see them online. When you see those innovations, if you just ask yourself one simple question, and that is, what new expectations will this innovation generate? Like, the question is, when people see this product, when they see this service, what new expectations will that generate in them? And then what do those expectations mean for me? How can I serve those rising expectations? If you go out into the world looking at everything through that lens, you can start to spot trends too. You can become your own trend watcher, spot your own trends, and then put them to work. If you want to learn more about these trends and a whole bunch of others that can help you innovate in the years ahead, of course, go and check out Trend Watching. I'll be writing about this moment, the great pandemic, the trends, what it means for technology and society and all of us, on my newsletter every week, New World, Same Humans. So if you're interested to read a weekly installment of that, check it out. I think you can see the web address at the top of the screen now. But that is more than enough from me.
So thank you very much, David, for this wonderful presentation. I really appreciate it, and I do think that the people who watched the video, they would appreciate it as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And as I say, you know, I hope those trends are fuel and are inspiration. This moment will pass. It will leave lasting changes, but there's going to be huge opportunities and a huge need for innovators to serve people, you know, in the new world we're moving into. And as I say in the presentation, if you think about human nature and you think about basic human needs and you anchor your innovation to those human needs, then you can be successful. That is a very powerful innovation strategy. But thanks so much for having me. It was super fun.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye for now.